Hello traders, hope everyone is doing great and hope everyone is very fine. Actually, at my side I'm very fine. Yeah, and in front of you is just a short video, very short, explaining how I made more than 500 pips. It's almost 500 pips. Yeah, within with just two pairs only. The first pair is USDCHF, and I got about 300 pips, and the second pair is GBPCAD. I made about 200 pips. So I will explain a little bit how I caught those trades and managed to get those huge pips, 500 pips within just a short period of time. In front of you is USDCHF, the first one, which I caught up about 300 pips, as you can see here in a weekly time frame. The weekly time frame is in trend wise is very bullish. Is very bullish, as you can see here. This level above here, this one, this is supply zone. It was very strong since it was never tested, since the level never tested it since it was since 2019. Since 2019, December 2019. It was created in 2019, 25th of November and December, and it was never tested. So it was a very strong level, very strong area, very strong supply zone, which was never yet tested. So before price did not reach at this level, I was expecting some resistance or some rejections before price got removed, but the buyers or bulls were very strong, that managed to break and take out this level, this supply zone. It was being taken out by which level? By this level here, this demand zone, this below demand zone. This is the level which was responsible for removing this zone. So due to those factors, according to supply and demand rules, it is said that if the level of supply removed, one level of supply being removed, and we have a possibility of drawing a bullish trend line, this one bullish trend line, then in trend wise, according to definition of trend, that trend is considered as to be a bullish trend. So price was starting to correcting, coming toward this level of demand, but eventually it did not make it to reach this level of demand. So finally make a U-turn at these areas of support and resistance, at these levels here. These areas are very strong levels of support and resistance, but also we had a 20 EMA. This acts as a support, dynamic support. So price managed to turn around these areas here at these levels of support, and they eventually start to moving to the bullish side. So when the market was reversing at these areas, it did not surprise me. I was not surprised, because I was expecting such scenario to happen. Why? Because the price was overextended, and I expect there were two possibilities: either the price to reach at the origin of this impasse, that is this demand level here, or to end the correction, or the correction move to end around these areas. Why? Because once we have an overextension scenario, we expect the price to turn to retrace toward the origin of the move, or to make we call it what we call it it's like a trend reset of trend. So a little bit pullback or very strong pullback, then continuation of a trend. So due to that scenario, and price confirmed that price trend has already turned around these levels over here. So I dropped down to the daily time frame. So this trade was taken due to top down analysis, and macro time frame analysis was included. On the daily time frame, we had overextension. This correction was overextended. Why do I say it was overextended? As you can see, this candle here is a 50% candle. This one 50% candle. This one is a 50% candle. Both of these candles are basing candle. And in supply and demand rules, we say that if we have overextension or three or more than CPs, then the trend is considered as overextension. Then we may expect a U-turn at any time. So due to that factor, I drew up a bearish trend line, and this trend line was managed to be taken out. After being taken out, then we had a new level of demand over here. This was the level of demand. Then price tested it, and they started to indicate that the bullish movement is starting to move. From the trend is starting to change from bearish to bullish. So after seeing that such scenario on the daily time frame, then I dropped to 4 hour time frame, and at the 4 hour time frame I was waiting for a clear formation of a demand zone with clear confirmations, and which has meet all the criteria for a level to be tradable. That is 2-to-1 imbalance, removing of an opposing level, also departure. So as you can see here, this was a supply level for a supply zone, and it was removed by this level of demand. This is a basing. Why basing? Because we have 50% candles. The characteristics of these candles here forming a base are 50% candles. So this was where I took my trade. Then my stop loss was about 25 pips, and my first target, I planned this to take as a swing trade. Then my first target was about 272 pips. This why I set here my target, because this area, or on this ray line, this is a proximal line of our daily supply zone. When you come to the daily, so this level, my target here was almost very close to my daily supply zone. So that is the reason why I set up here my target. And after price reached here, my take profit was hit about 272 pips. So I closed almost about 80% of my positions at this level, and then about 20% of my position, then I'm currently holding, and now the price is about 300 pips. Once we extend here, you can see it's about 300 pips. So this was a reason behind why I took a USDCHF trade and managed to cut up about 300 pips. And another pair is GBPCAD. This one is a GBPCAD with about 190. I mean, it's about let me see here, over here it's almost 160. It's around 160 pips. So how I took this trade and managed to catch about 200 pips. Before proceeding this trade, it's around 4% of my trading account, and the USDCHF, it was the risk to reward ratio was 10%. So It's about almost 11% of my risk of the reward of my trading account balance. So I managed to get up almost 10.9%, and in GBPCAD almost 4%. So how did I manage to get this trade? As you can see here on the weekly time frame, this is my top higher time frame, which I usually use on performing my top-down analysis. As you can see here, at these areas here, we have a clean or clear level of demand, but it is not fresh. It was already tested by this price movement. So price move just to perform is blah 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 blah, and finally came again to test this level. So currently price is at the weekly demand zone, which is not fresh. It was already tested few years ago. Then as you can see, the weekly time frame also was bearish. This is a bearish trend on the weekly time frame, and this level of demand, this is a demand zone, is a weekly demand, 1 week demand. It was supposed to be in blue color. So the weekly demand was clearly taken out by which level? It was taken out by this level of supply, this supply zone. Managed to take out this level, and also we have a formation of new peak. We have this one in the first peak, in the second peak, then we had a possibility of drawing a bearish trend line. So after knowing that the trend is bearish on the weekly time frame, then I dropped to my intermediate time frame, that is daily time frame. The daily time frame also, the trend was bullish. As you can see here, we had this level of supply, took out this level of demand, then we had a formation of another peak, then we had the first peak, this one is the first peak, this is the first peak, and this one is the second peak. So upon drawing the trend line, we usually in drawing a trend line rules, as per supply and demand rules, we only use 2 values or peak upon drawing any trend line at any type of market. So at this market condition, that trend wise it was bearish, then I finally managed to draw my bearish trend line. Then after knowing that the weekly trend is bearish and the daily is bearish, so I finally because the weekly and daily are bearish, then what am I going to do on my intermediate at my entry time frame, which is 4 hours, is to look only for fresh and clear supply zone to take a short trade. And finally this opportunity realized presented itself. Then after removing this level of demand, when you look at my previous video of weekly market analysis, I've already explained about this GBPCAD. I was waiting for price to remove this level of demand, and price yesterday managed well to remove this level of demand and finally came back to this level of demand, and the level is this level. It was my entry zone, so I put my pending order at this price point at 1.57117. This was my entry price, and my first target was about at this U-turn. This was my first target. It was about 108 pips, and my last target, it is more than 200 pips, but current price managed to reach at about 200 pips. But I will hold this price, because why will I manage to hold this? Why am I telling you that I will hold this price? It's because the higher time frame trend is still bearish, and I'm expecting that weekly level of demand to be taken out, so that the price could continue with its trend. Also, this level of monthly demand zone, I'm expecting to be removed, and price continue to drop, to go further downward, to continue with a monthly down trend. So currently I've managed to hold about 200 pips, and then when you sum up the USDCHF pips and GBPCAD pips, it's almost 500 pips. And this move had happened in just a single day. These 200 pip move just happened in a single day. It's about for only 12 hours of holding, then I managed to catch about 200 pips. That is how I managed to catch these 500 pips in just a few days and few hours. Yeah, these pips were only caught at by almost 2 trading pairs. Thank you for continuing watching at my videos, and I would like you to tell you that please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share our videos. Share with your fellows, your family. Then I'll be thankful. I'll thank you a lot. Thank you, and have a happy trading week.